Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the Monday edition of Inside the 20 with myself and Keith Niebuhr. I am your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3, and I'm joined as always by Mr. Keith Niebuhr. Keith, how you doing, big dog?
I'm doing good, brother. What's up, man?
Well, we've got a special guest today, but before we get to that, I want to say if anybody's looking for a new or used car, give Caleb Schofield a call, 334-531-0996. He's there with Mike Patton Auto in LaGrange, Georgia. He's got new Ford, Lincoln, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and even Honda's, folks. Has a fantastic, even more diverse selection on the used car lot. All those used cars have to pass a multi-point inspection before they even consider selling them. And they back those used cars with a free 3-month, 3,000-mile warranty. All the new cars come even more guaranteed with a free lifetime powertrain warranty, unlimited time, unlimited mileage. Big deal there, folks. And listen, if you're not in the market for a car, but you know somebody who is, send them to Caleb Schofield. Caleb will send you $300. It's a pretty good deal. Caleb Schofield with Mike Patton Auto in LaGrange, Georgia. They're off the Lafayette Parkway. Give Caleb a call. Good Auburn man and take care of you. You've already taken care of Keith. 334-531-0996. All right, Keith, big day today for us, man. We've got a huge guest. We're going to bring in our huge guest. All right, we are joined by Auburn University head football coach Hugh Freeze. Hugh, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Jeffrey, thank you and Keith for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. We've been looking forward to this, and we've been covering the recruiting. All the fans have been a lot to be excited about. Let's put it that way, man. You guys finished that 2023 class strong. You still may not be done with it, but Hugh, I wanted to take a look back at that 2023 class. You had a couple of weeks before that December signing period. I think you ended in the top 20. Most networks had you. You talk about that 2023 class, how you closed with it, and maybe some of those transfers, how you did in the transfer portal.
Well, I think only time tells how well you can evaluate a class, but I do know to have only I think we had 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks before the early signing period, and really just 2 weeks on the road, truthfully, and 2 weekends to have on the campus and to, do what we did. I think moved from somewhere in the 50s to somewhere in the top 20. I think was about as well as we could hope for the time frame that we had, and coming off, what is considered a disappointing season for Auburn standards. And so I think, I'm fairly pleased. And I think the high school part of it, the relationships that Zach and Cadillac and truthfully C-Rob and some of the others had done to kind of hold Auburn in the game with them, and paid great dividends there. And we were able to flip a few more kids that, Jake did a really nice job, and Bernardi and Kendall with, the Connor Lews of the world and the Clay Whedons. And I think the others were pretty solid. And then the kid from Texas Tech also that was committed there. I think the high school class has a chance to be, a solid class.
That's fair.
I will tell. And in the transfer world, that's pretty much all on the new collaborative staff to try to pull that together in the time we had. And I think we did okay. We definitely improved ourselves, if for nothing else, just getting the roster numerically somewhat right in the O-line and D-line rooms. We would have liked to have another receiver. So we'll stay in the market for that, and maybe another linebacker. So we may look at that in the second period also, and then maybe a quarterback. It's just those are, and truthfully, I say maybe because I don't, until we get out here and have our 15 practices. Our receiving corps may be a lot better than I know. Because it wasn't a great sample size to look at. Same thing with quarterbacks. And so, and we're definitely looking for one more inside offensive lineman. We need more there to fill the numerical numbers. So that's, I think I answered everything there.
Yeah. I thought the transfer class was very impressive. You filled so many needs, especially along both lines of scrimmage. Xavier Miller was another guy back in the he's a junior college, the number one junior college offensive lineman. I think he's listed as a tackle, but I think he could play in or out.
Yeah, really excited. Listen, his body has already changed so much in our strength program. Coach Dom's doing a nice job. We had a great. I'm really excited about our 2 team runs this week, and our coaches get a little more time with them in preparing for spring ball. But his is a body that is noticeably different, and I think you're right. He can play both inside and out.
Was that kind of a quality you were looking for in linemen? At least seems to be a lot of these guys are versatile. Clay Whedon could play inside or out. I know Tyler Johnson's probably more of an outside guy. But
I'm glad you said his name, because a while ago I felt guilty. I was like, oh man, I'm old. Sometimes they run together, man.
It happens to me too, big dog.
I knew it was Johnson. I just didn't want to, and I was struggling with that T word.
It's still.
That's Tyler.
It's still early. You're still sipping on coffee. We'll allow it.
No, I've been up since 4. I've already texted every single recruit for the 24 class and set up Zoom calls with most of them.
Ooh, well, let's talk about that 2024 class, Hugh. I've talked to a couple of recruits. They tell me what you're telling them, which is how important this class could be for you. And moving forward, your immediate success, in the near future. How important is this 2024 class to you?
Well, I think it's the most important class that we'll have. I think most people, the expectations for Auburn, I think most realistic people know the scenario that we have. It's not a quick fix. Should there be improvement? Yes. Should there be more effort and more things to be excited about? Yes. But I'm a realist too. You don't just work miracles in this league just overnight. And so I think the momentum for the program has begun. And I think the 24 class, we not only have to continue the momentum, but we've got to be one of the top programs in the country in recruiting. And I think that kind of sets the standard for the future. And I really think the 24 and 25 class kind of sets you up to where you can start having some of the success that others are having in this league, and then recruiting becomes a little easier. But we gotta really, really work hard at it right now.
Keith, you had some you've been keep an eye on that quarterback position.
Yeah, Hugh, you mentioned, when you talked about Hank Brown, your 2023 signee, you talked about some of the attributes you saw in him, but just in general, you can't give us names, obviously, but in general, when you're looking at quarterbacks, and you're known, you, Ken Austin, Philip Montgomery, you guys, and Jesse Stone, you guys are known as being quarterback guys. So when you're evaluating quarterbacks, high school, transfers, junior college, whatever, and you've had so much success with these guys, what are 3 or 4 things that you personally are looking for in a guy?
Again, I think, and most coaches wouldn't say this to you, but I think I just believe in being very real. And it kind of depends on the level you're coaching. Okay. So when I'm coaching at Liberty or Arkansas State, truthfully, I want the Malik Willis who people would say, you know what, he hasn't I don't know that he can be an accurate passer. I don't know that he can be inadequate at that or whatever. But at that level, you're not going to recruit one of the top players in the country at that position. And so let me go find one that I think I can work with to be a dynamic football player, like a Ryan Applin I had at Arkansas State, or Malik Willis, and that doesn't mean they have to run, but it just I think in that scenario, you're willing maybe to look at some different attributes than at Auburn. At Auburn, there's no question in my mind, number 1 is accuracy. Number 2 is the ability to lead a football team and be the face, the representation of the program. And 3 would be arm strength. And 4th, I would love for him to have some maneuverability, some escapability. But at Auburn, you ought to be able to recruit one of the top ones in the country. And so it's not like at others. And I hope that makes sense what I say. It just, but there ought to be a sample size of the kids at Auburn where we have pretty good reason to believe that this guy is a very good passer also.
All right, last thing for me. Everybody knows you've been swamped since you got to Auburn. I think you were announced, your hiring was announced November 28th. But during the offseason, you were able to sneak in around to golf. You've played Pebble. You told me you've played Augusta. We're still waiting for our invitations for you to take us.
I don't know. That's an invitation that I look forward to.
Well, but you mentioned that recently you were down in South Florida and you got to play Grove 23. And for people that don't know, that's Michael Jordan's new course that he was a part. He owns it. He runs it, everything. And you got to play down there and you were in a group and he was there. So just what was that experience like? You're a big time golfer, one handicap. So just as a true golfing aficionado, to play his course, to be around Michael Jordan, what was that like, Coach?
First, I do not play like a one handicap any longer. That was, I don't know. I'm way off on that. I'm playing. That is total fake news. My handicap right now. So I'm not getting to play as much here as I would like to. But man, it was an incredible day. I think most people that know me know I'm really good friends with Eric Church. He's one of my dearest friends, and love him. He's just as real, and his wife Catherine, and he's one of the newest members there, which is by invitation only. So, Eric was kind enough to take a group of us there, and Michael was there. He played in front of us, and he's just, you're meeting and being around one of the greatest athletes of all time. And he swings the golf club effortlessly, but the place itself is really incredible. Fastest carts you have ever seen.
Okay.
They're like 25 miles an hour. You are rolling. But man, it was an incredible place, incredible experience, and good to be around those guys. And then one of my dear friends, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., wins Daytona yesterday.
Oh, wow.
I just can't tell you how people really don't know how jacked I was for that. Other than my wife, she was watching with me on the last few laps, and I just I know personally what all he's put into trying to accomplish something at the highest level of his sport, and it's tough. It's hard, and there are many, many more disappointments than there is successes. And this is kind of I'm going somewhere with this, I guess, with life and with football and with Auburn. And but I'm really close to him, and we talk a lot. And man, there's a lot of down times when you're trying to be in the top of the top, the elite of the elite. And I don't know that a lot of people understand that, and they just judge you by what they see in the race on Sunday. And he didn't make the chase last year, and he's not competing in most races. He's a one-car team that doesn't have the resources of the others. And so all of those things are just like football to me, and I think that's why we're so close. And the one thing that equals it out for them sometimes is those restrictor plate races. And he has been excellent at those and just hadn't gotten a break and been caught up in those wrecks. And so for him to win that last night and already know he's probably in the chase and the money that comes with winning that for he and his family and his crew, I just was so happy last night I couldn't sleep for him. I say all that to say, the one equalizer in ours is recruiting. And so we've got to get after it.
You didn't tell us what you shot on Jordan's course.
I shot 81. I do remember that. So it was
81.
Okay day, but I'm not a very good golfer right now.
81.
Yeah, appreciate you taking the time to answer that one there.
Yeah.
That's my front nine.
No.
Hey, Hugh, that's all we got for you, man. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Looking forward to your first spring and to see what all comes out of that.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Hugh Freeze, ladies and gentlemen.
He's so calm. He's so calm and relaxed, and just he takes every question. Like he said, a lot of coaches probably wouldn't answer the question about the quarterbacks, Jeff.
Yeah,
but
I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah,
Man.
great insight. How about here are the things that stood out to me. Well, I'll let you talk too. But up at 4 a.m, he's already texted every big target in the 2024 class. He's setting up Zoom calls. You don't have to recruit 24/7. You just got to be really smart and diligent about it, and that's what he's doing. He's got friends. He's talking to different people. He's able to find that balance. Don't get me wrong. He's putting a lot of time into recruiting though, and that kind of that tells the story there, how early he was up and that he's already getting after it.
Very telling.
It's a dead period only in the sense that you can't have kids on campus, but here you go. He's up at the crack of dawn already recruiting, and that's what it's going to take. He understands that, Jeff.
Let me tell you, he still wants a wide receiver. Still wanted another one from the December period. Missed out on a couple of guys. I think you heard a couple of those guys talk about the reason being is that they really didn't have a proven quarterback to throw them the football. Can't really blame the guys for that. But linebacker, need another linebacker, needs another interior offensive lineman. And then he didn't say definitely on the quarterback, but I think listen, you got to be careful with your words there, right? If you're the coach, you haven't even seen these kids throw the football in a practice setting yet. You don't want to come out and say, yeah, we know we need a quarterback. All right. We're definitely you want to give these kids the Robbie Ashford, the Holden Gurners, hell, even TJ Finley's still in there. At least a little bit of confidence that they have a chance to win the starting position.
Here's another thing, Jeffrey. How about the crowd that he runs with? Got the Daytona 500, Eric Church. So these are people, if your coach knows people, they're probably going to stop by your campus at different times. And that just gives you more notoriety, more publicity, free publicity. I don't think that ever hurts either. I don't think that either. But no, he's just a laid back and chill guy. But don't be fooled. He's getting after it at 5 a.m, and up at 4 a.m, texting people, and all morning. He's intense beneath that calmness, right? That's the way I describe it.
As far as a head coach goes, I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't think. Listen, I'm no knock on Gus or even Brian Harsin for that matter, but I don't think either one of those two guys. And I'd have to go back to Chizik. Now, I don't think Chizik was doing that either. I think his assistant coaches may have been. But as far as a head coach recruiting as diligently as Hugh Freeze is, and as he said, he knows how important this 2024 class is.
Well, that's right. And a lot of head coaches wait until down the line in the process to get involved with the recruit, right? And because they want to make like this grand entrance, so to speak, later on. And I think he realizes that's just not going to cut it right now. He needs to get involved with their main targets early. Let them know how important they are to Auburn. Let them know that they can turn the program around with him.
Yes.
And so when they say they're prioritizing someone, it's not just their assistant coaches and their behind the scenes and off-field staffers who, by the way, are working their butts off too. But when they say that, it means he's also getting involved. He's going to get his hands in there and get in the action. And I think that's what Auburn absolutely needed right now. I mean, look, he like you said, miracles don't happen overnight, but the way to turn a program around is by doing it the way they've done it so far. I mean, these are the steps you've got to take. And so far, Jeffrey, you and I have been doing this a long time. We've covered recruiting for years and years and years, and we haven't seen too many missteps so far. We've seen the exact opposite, in fact. There's a real clarity there and a real purpose. And everybody seems to be pulling in the same direction, and the results speak for themselves.
Hey, listen, talk about results. We've already seen now, and hell, credit goes to Hugh Freeze. Don't get me wrong, but we know Philip Montgomery played a big role in Walker getting. I mean, you just beat out Clemson, for a quarterback, Keith.
Yeah, I mean,
when's the last time we've seen that? Seriously.
Well, again, when I started covering Auburn in 2013, you'd covered them for many years before that. But it was very standard for Auburn to beat the Alabamas and Georgias and Clemsons, actually beat Clemson into the ground for recruits. And then, through the years, it just started getting harder and harder. And all of a sudden, toward the end of Gus's tenure, and obviously he had all the negative chatter the last 3-4 years that he had to battle, but there just weren't many of those types of victories, right?
No.
There weren't. And I think he'd probably be the first to admit that it became more of a challenge. It wasn't so much an indictment against his recruiting abilities and his staff. It was more just the overall situation. But it was a reality. And now you're seeing, again, a flip of Keldrick Falk from FSU.
Yes.
That's a guy Auburn should get. He's right in their
Right.
backyard.
That's exactly right.
In the state of Alabama, a 4-star defensive lineman. But that was the guy that we heard from multiple people was way up the board among all prospects nationally for Florida State. Then you flip Kay and Lee, a 4-star corner from Ohio State. You flip Sylvester Smith, a 4-star defensive back from Tennessee. Now, Tennessee and Florida State, until last year, hadn't been much for years. But momentum is squarely on the sides of those two programs right now, and you just swipe the guy away from each of them. LSU, you flipped Duron Reed. Now, the previous staff was heavily involved in with that NIL, but you kept them. You could have easily lost them when you got to Auburn if you're Hugh Freeze, and you didn't. And there's a new momentum. We've heard multiple recruits say it. The staff feels it. There's an energy that's significant and palpable that you saw at Junior Day when we were there all day, Jeffrey. We haven't seen that in years, that type of energy, that type of enthusiasm. And it's kind of permeating through the entire program and, quite frankly, through the entire fan base. And anyone that might have had apprehension about Auburn selecting Hugh Freeze among the Auburn fan base, that's probably withered away just in the last few months as you see one success after the other roll in. And then obviously the coup de grace, Walker White, the 4-star quarterback, picking Auburn over Clemson. Just, again, they need more of that, though. They need more of that.
Absolutely.
Right now, Jeffrey, you and I were, and I'm going on, and I'm sorry, but right now you and I are like, holy cow. In a year, we shouldn't be holy cow anymore.
Absolutely.
That's what it needs to be. That's what it should be. And that's what it is.
Yep. To me, the 4 schools, if you're beating them, you're doing something right. That's Alabama, that's Georgia, that's Ohio State, and that's Clemson. Those 4 schools, historically, at least for the past, maybe 7 to 8 years, those guys have been in the top 5 pretty much every year in recruiting. Top 10 at the absolute worst. But those 4, to me, anytime Auburn goes up against those guys, and Ohio State comes down, they love hitting Florida, dude. They love eating up that Florida.
And Jeffrey, let's point out that they're going all in on some Georgia commits over in the state of Georgia right now. Now, they might not.
Auburn is.
Nycar is a 4-star receiver. Landon Thomas, a 4-star tight end. These guys are in South Georgia. Mike Bobo's the new OC at Georgia. That's Mike Bobo country. That's where he's from. He's had an unbelievable amount of success down there. But Auburn is letting Georgia know, hey,
Marcus Riddick.
We're not just going to roll over and let you take everybody, okay? We're going to get in there. We're going to fight. We're going to roll up our sleeves, and we're going to see what happens. And
Alabama too.
Yeah, I mean that's what you have to do.
Perry Thompson. These are in-state guys. Alabama, Georgia. DeMarcus Riddick, the in-state 4-star linebacker from Chilton County. Committed to Georgia. Auburn had him on for a Junior Day. Going to go all in on him. Perry Thompson, the wide receiver from Saraland, committed to Alabama. Going all in on that guy. He's already been up to Auburn for a visit. Both of those guys are going to return. Listen, it's never easy flipping an in-state kid from Alabama. We've learned that every year.
Yeah, and Jeffrey, I should point out, well, look, the last staff said they were going to do this, and the staff before that said it's easier said than done. I mean, look, they all tried to go after these guys, but with Hugh Freeze in charge of the program, you actually now get the sense that it's possible. So how do you make that a reality? Well, if you're the head coach, you wake up at 4 a.m, like he does, he said. You text all these guys all morning.
Yeah.
You set up Zoom calls. You get your hands in there. You get heavily involved. You sell the vision. You show improvement. You bring them to campus. You make them feel wanted. You make their families feel wanted. You show off the brand new facility, which may be the nicest in college football. You make some incremental gains and hopefully some big gains. But like you said, miracles don't always happen overnight. But you show that vision, and then if they can see it maybe coming to fruition, and you can sell them on the idea that, Alabama's here, Ohio State's here, Georgia's here, Clemson's here. Maybe in 5 years, people will be saying, well, Auburn's up there too. Maybe Auburn could be. Someone, Jeffrey, is going to be that next great program.
You're right.
Somebody, it's got to be somebody.
Is it going to be Tennessee? Could it be Florida State? Why not Auburn? And you want Auburn to be in a position where other schools are like, they fear Auburn in recruiting, right? They don't. Nobody fears Auburn right now in recruiting. And to be fair, Robert Woodyard, I think, was the last guy Auburn, and that was Brian Harson's staff. Robert Woodyard flipped from Alabama to Auburn.
Yeah. Well, and we think that was probably a situation where Auburn or Bama might have, my memory's correct.
Yeah, you're right.
I wanted a gray shirt, something
That's
like that.
right. That's right.
But yeah, you want them to fear you. And, I'll just be honest. I talked to reporters and you do too, that cover other teams. And I got to tell you, I remember talking to somebody who covered Georgia last year, and he said, he talked to Georgia staff a lot. Auburn wasn't even in their thought process when it came to recruiting.
Right.
It can't be that way. It just can't. You're not going to out-evaluate everybody. All the big boys are fishing from the same pond, okay? And now, occasionally, not
Sure.
occasionally, you guys each class, you really did great evaluations and you beat everybody. You just beat everybody on the evals part. But otherwise, Ohio State, Southern Cal, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Texas, Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State, they're all recruiting the same guys, the same batch of guys. How many of those guys can you get? Because you better start getting some or you're not going to win, right? And so Auburn stopped getting those guys. And guess what happened? The wins stopped coming with regularity. Now they're getting some of those guys again. Now you need to get more of those guys and more and more. And then difference makers at key critical positions such as quarterback, offensive tackle, cornerback, and defensive tackle and edge. And if you do that, you can make some significant progress. And before you know it, you're competing with the big boys again. You still have that great home field advantage. You still got all these things working in Auburn's favor, even with a roster that, quite frankly, the last couple of years wasn't great. Auburn was still competitive. And so for the most part, so now you think, okay, do you have the right head coach in place? A lot of people think so. Recruiting seems to be moving on a really, rocket ship to the moon. And I hope that's the right analogy. A good trajectory. And everything seems to be lining up, and we'll see. And I think Hugh was very forthcoming with info today. Fantastic job, Jeffrey.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate Hugh Freeze joining us, man. Hey, y'all stick around. Y'all, if you haven't subscribed and liked our YouTube channel, please do that now. Hit those notifications, man, so you'll get notified anytime we upload new videos. We will have another special guest on Wednesday's show. And we'll be adding guests throughout the spring. Auburn starts spring practice a week from today, February 27th. The first of 15 practices will get underway. We'll be covering it all at Auburn Live on 3. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We really appreciate it. For Keith, for Zach in the back, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay out of that left lane. See ya.